Hey, actually, we're back. We've been muted this whole time. Look, Streamlabs is really hard. Okay, Streamlabs.
It's okay. Hey, you're doing amazing.
Froze,
I'm proud
and then
of you.
when I reset, all of the audio was gone, and I just looked down like,
oh no.
Hey, none of my levels are moving. What's up with that? Oh, it's because.
Oh no.
Cool.
Anyway, we're on the third time talking about this.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah. We can be groovy. Yeah, engineering has always been there. I looked at the big book of life decisions for university, and I found nothing to be really of interest and intrigue until it was like, oh, engineering and business. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll like business. I did not. I sat down in a class, and they were like, this is the hardest graph you will ever have to deal with. And it was a supply and demand line graph. And there I am trying to figure out why this train is like shaking in my other class. And I'm like, I can't do this. Like, I can't think about this line because I need to know why this train is shaking.
Right. There are real problems. There are real problems at play, and this line is not one of them.
Kim, people are dying.
So, yeah, exactly. So, dropped out of business, went straight into engineering, and pretty much only really did it because I didn't really find anything else interesting or challenging. So always been there. I like a good puzzle. And that's pretty much it.
Did you guys have the what we think you'll be good at quiz that you do in like high school where they like give you a bunch of questions and then when it comes you get to the end there's like a percentage of like the different careers that you'll be good at?
I wish we had something like that. That sounds like, you know what, I probably wouldn't listen to it, but I'd want to do it.
I mean, when you talked about the big book of life decisions, that's what came to my mind. Keegan, did you have this thing?
I did. They said I should be. This is gonna sound so stupid when you hear it. When like everybody here knows I did not do like higher education, but like I did it, and it was like, hey, you should be a nuclear technician, and I was like, how many years of school is that? And they were like 8. And I was like, ah! You're out of your fucking mind. Are you kidding? And then I proceeded to not go to college.
Amazing. I kid you not. Mine was like a baker and a librarian. And I was like, just because I'm a chill dude and like don't want to try, I'm offended.
Is it like a personality quiz?
Kind of.
Or
like,
okay.
It looks at like what your aptitudes are. It's like, you know, like rotate this in your mind. Can you not do that? Okay, you're not an engineer.
Right.
But it runs through like a trillion like types of smarts, and then it's like these are the things you're good at. I assume if it's like you're a baker, it's like you like bread.
We don't know what to tell you. We don't know what to tell you.
Like I remember looking at like bread.
Yeah, like there were other like options that were like real like what I considered at the time as real potentials. Like there was like business. I think there was like a professor or something like that. But the one that will forever stick to me, like it was in like my top 5, was truly like just baker. And I was, what? I don't understand. There were no bread-based questions, but here we are.
Did it ask you what you thought about like jam? Where did this come from?
There was no food anything. I really legitimately think that they're like, this girl needs to be humbled. Baker. That's like shit. I'm gonna drop out of my 5 AP classes because I can't handle this.
And cooks bread. I don't know what to tell you.
Oh, man. Baking's like chemistry for sure. That stuff's hard.
Yeah, I'm not proficient in bakery. It didn't stick. The aptitude test was wrong.
Yeah, our school was kind of like, these are your grades. These are the things that you should do. And I'm like, and I was like, I'm just gonna like get a texter and just block out medicine because that's one I definitely don't want to do. I ran away from my medicine exam, and my parents found out like 8 years later, and they were like, "Excuse me," and I was like, "Oh, it's
too late now. We're good."
Yeah, I already got this degree.
Awesome. So we've worked through the attributes and the disciplines. We're to the values part, which is the part I really enjoyed about the game.
I love values so much. I love it because I provided the team here with a value list. But the great thing is you don't even have to listen to that list, I think, because it's like if you have a character in your mind and like you're like, okay, no, I believe that it's none of these that are on the list. It's this value specifically, you can just write it in, which I think is the beauty of the game, because I find that other games, like certain traits and certain values, it kind of doesn't encourage you to sort of like think of like your own value or like create a character with that in mind. It all can tend to be very like static, like samey, in my opinion, which is
like very prescriptive, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. Which is why, again, like I love the values aspect in this game because it helps in terms of your character creation and how you role play as well. Because it's like you inherently just have that idea of who you are, kind of thing.
One thing I love too is the values are all tied. So like there's one tied to where you're from, there's one tied to your like career choice, and I think there's like one you pick in other places. And what I love about that is like it kind of speaks to how people work. Like our values are things that we gain from experience and like from our environment, places that we come from, and having that direct connection to those things is really powerful, I think, because a lot of times other games will have like those value mechanics, right? But they're devoid of context. You just kind of like pick some from this list versus this embeds it in like real factual context of you know, the character's background.
That's what I really enjoy as well, because like you said, in certain ones, like you'll go, oh, look at these values, I'm gonna pick this one because it helps optimize my character rather than helps build a character. Right. And
it's just off of this list, and it's not really presented next to any other information other than choose 3, and then you're like, okay, versus this, it's like I'll just read this. This value should reflect the environment and culture the character was raised within. This is a good opportunity to consider how the character views their own culture and how they connect or possibly don't connect to the philosophies and traditions of their people. Like we're really getting into it, man.
Yeah, it's like it's such a beautiful way to build a character, and also having it like mechanized in the game itself is just, it's great. It's why I love this game. I think for me, like my value would probably be like family first. If I was to say like reflecting the environment and culture, that was like something that's like deep within my family. Looking out for each other and all of that jazz. So that would be the value that I create.
Love it. From there, we move to the upbringing.
Love it. The nature of a person's family and their surroundings as they grow up can have a massive impact upon them all. And whether they accept this influence or rebel against it, it will shape the rest of their lives. Another reason why I love this game, you can either be like, yes, I accept my upbringing, or nope, not going to do that, which is great. And when you click select upbringing, you've got a couple here. It's a bit hard for me in my upbringing because I'm a split of 3. Let's see. Interestingly, I would probably say diplomacy and politics was actually my upbringing. A majority of the influential parts of my family were in, unfortunately, that category of humans. And I obviously rebelled against it.
And I was like, no, thank you. Not for me.
Yeah, they were like, you could do law. And I was like, that sounds awful.
I think we're good.
Yeah, I was like, I did law in high school and I hated the people in it. So I was like, if I have to hang around these people again, like willingly, I think no. But yeah, so click rebel. Attributes, so they add attributes based on which one you've picked, and your disciplines. So command being sort of like your leadership kind of positions, con being a little bit more of like your operational, and security being your security. I would probably say that the discipline that I gained would probably be more of that operational aspect, so I would be clicking con.
Hell yeah.
Heck yeah. And in terms of talent, let me just...
You don't have them all memorized?
No, I know, like, yeah, it's probably like the most disappointing thing, right?
I don't understand why
it's funny because I was about to pick studious because like I was like, yeah, look, I did a lot of study. I'll pick that, even though I obviously don't study Star Trek. Yeah, so studious is probably the upbringing. That is what I had to do when I was a kid, which is a surprise of no one. Focuses comes next. So the character's focus should relate to the character's preferred way of applying their skills. I liked focuses a lot. I deeply relied on Nalani's focuses.
Yes, same with Taru, buddy. Same with Taru.
The great thing about the Star Trek game is I feel like you can kind of negotiate with your GM of like, you know, this situation, I feel like I can use this. Is that possible? Like you can kind of like swing it your way, which I really liked because it's not as rigid as other systems that I've played where it's like, you know, like agility. It's like, oh, this is a running thing. I must run. Whereas like, example for Nalani, it was like espionage. And I was like, if there is any like sliver of sus that is in this situation, I will use the shit out of that focus.
100%. Well, and I think that's how the real world works as well, right? Like,
I think so.
It's not like I have like the phenomenon I call like video game brain. Like you play a lot of video games, there are just certain things that stand out to you, whether it's in like books or your day-to-day or whatever. Like it's not like it only applies when I'm playing video games. Like you can apply skills and focuses wherever, and that's what I again gonna totally like second your opinion here on like the flexibility of that, because it's like you don't really know if the focus is gonna help you unless you try. And also, you're rolling dice. There's already an element of chance. Like, give me what I need to be successful. Like, don't kneecap me, man. You don't know. Maybe this is about physics. It could be.
It could be. You know what? I need to be calm when I'm dealing with this. I'm going to use composure. I loved that one. I would probably say, as a personal focus, it'd probably be something along the lines of like pattern recognition or puzzle solving.
Ooh, love that.
That's really legitimately how I got by school, is pattern recognition.
Hell yeah.
Let's be real. Everything is like, all exams are the same at a point.
This is such a cool character creator. I know it's been said, but like, it's like click my thing. Like, oh, cool. It's just that.
It's so nice.
It's so good. It's so good. And like you kind of can get really involved in like even like the written word in here as well, because it's like, oh, okay, like the years spent at Starfleet are some of the most memorable. So like there's a little bit of flavor as well through it, not just like select your track kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which is great.
I feel like as someone who doesn't know Star Trek, it's been like, oh, cool, I can read this little blurb and figure out what's going on.
Yeah, so I think it's a lot friendlier than other systems as well in that regard, because it gives you a little bit of an understanding of like what game you are actually going to play. Whereas in some others, like you can read the blurb and you might gauge, oh, okay, so like I'm in the Wild West. Cool. But that's kind of like I love that.
Do you want a cowboy hat or a cowboy belt? That will determine your fate.
Exactly. Gun or lasso? Where are you from? Yeah, it's
Don't
that.
talk bad about Deadlands.
Are you rough are you rootin' and tootin'? Are you as tough as nails? What do those mean? You don't know. Just pick one.
I want this game, honestly. You all are shit talking this game, and I want to play this exact game. I want to have to
we
choose
made a game.
between
Whoops.
Rootin'
made
and
a game.
Tootin' and Tough as Nail.
Or just a cowpoke. There
Yeah,
you go.
yeah.
Those are your three classes.
Those are your 3 classes.
Rootin' and Tootin' Tough as Nail and just a cowpoke.
Beautiful. Yeah, so after the blurb, you select your academy track. I will pick operations, as that is what I did.
And that's
Perfect.
under the officer, right?
Correct.
Officer track, operations track. All right.
And this is where we finally see like a list of, I think, all of the attributes, right? So there's control, which is, I mean, I'll let you speak to them as well, but like daring, which is like, what's nice about them is they're all what they sound like. Like
exactly that. And it's relevant also to sort of the Star Trek universe. Like, you know, you're going to be using control for like for flying, for example, or like doing anything with a level of precision. Daring is if you're going to do anything that some people may consider like reckless or like a little bit more dangerous than normal. Fitness being your like, you know, physicality, insight, the judgment of, you know, the area or of the people. Presence being that sense of how do people respond to you being in the room, and reason, that whole sort of like logical analysis of the situation. So it's all relevant, and I quite like the way that they've set up the attributes as well. It's not just like rootin' and tootin' or like strong or like, it's like
yeah,
just going through the ranges. Like these are all like, okay, so I have a little bit more like flexibility in what I need to apply based on the situation. So you might be in a situation where you're flying a shuttle through like through debris,